Q&A? Y'all ready for the 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 Q&A? Hey, y'all ready for the Q&A? Hey. What's up, Roxstars? It's Rox, and I'm coming to you guys today with the very first Q&A. Y'all know I don't do these often. Actually, I don't do them at all. This is my first Q&A, and depending on how this go, it might be my last Q&A. You guys actually asked me a lot of questions. I was really shocked. After I whittled them down, a lot of the questions were very similar. And asking pretty much the same thing. I just never knew you guys were so interested in how I met Mr. Chow. But okay, we gonna get into all of the questions here. I have a lot of them, so I am gonna answer as truthfully and as openly as I see fit. Okay, this is exciting, right? Okay. And it's a premiere video too. Okay, and we like these because I just like the fact that you guys are all participating. I mean, whenever I post videos, I'm always in the comments. Usually, I won't say always, but usually I'm in the comments immediately after I post anyway. So it worked out well that I could, do it on the chat and we can all watch together and talk about the same thing at the same time, y'all. So yeah, this is gonna be a good time. I look orange today, don't I? I don't know why. My makeup is the same as usual. I'm really trying to get used to the lighting. I'm realizing with this phone, the lighting is just, it affects everything. So today I'm not real happy with the lighting look. The makeup look, I should say. It's a little orangey, but we gonna make it do what it do. Roxstars, how y'all living out there? Y'all doing good? Okay, all right. It was a rough start today, shaky. You got to go with the flow, right? So that's what I have decided to do. But this Q&A, you guys, y'all ready? You get your drinks, you got your snacks, okay? If you at work, no alcohol. Whatever you need to do, let's get through this next hour together. All right, let's get to it. Okay, so I'm just gonna go in the order. I tried to put them in the order where there were, the questions that were going to probably take a little longer. I tried to put them at the beginning, and then just the little not frivolous, but the little just random questions that people ask me, I put those at the end. Okay, so the very first question is kind of heavy. I'm gonna get it out of the way so that we can not be depressed in here, but I'm gonna try to answer it so that we just don't be feeling all doom and gloom. I'm not going to cry, okay? But the first question has to deal with living with loss. And I had a lot of people ask me, how do you cope with the loss of a loved one, especially a parent? I even had quite a few people that were saying that they were only children who both of their parents were dead and, were feeling the loss, and, kind of how did I get through that? All I will say is, now you guys know my story. You know about my mom who died in 2006. I want to say unexpectedly, but it wasn't unexpectedly. She had breast cancer, but she found out she had it in March, and by October she was gone. So it was a little bit of a shocker for myself and my family, and it progressed really quickly, but so that's why I say it was unexpected. I just never in a million years thought that my mom was going to be dying, so all I can say about living with loss or trying to deal with the death of a parent, a loved one, that you were really close with, is you just have to take the time to get through the grieving process. There's no really right way to say, oh, you do this, that, this, and then you're going to be fine, because it's not. I can tell you, and you guys know from watching me for years, that there's sometimes that I can talk about my mom and I will just be crying. I mean, just the mention of my mom will bring a tear. And then there's other times that I can talk about her and it's no problem. I can think about my mom and I'll laugh. There's other times, and this is years later. My mom died in 2006. We're at 2019. It'll be 13 years this year. Sometimes it feels like it was just yesterday. I think just a few weeks ago, I had a breakdown with Debbie. I just was like, I just feel like I'm alone. Look, let me, I'm hoard. Y'all ain't gonna have me up here crying today. Listen, there's certain things that trigger the feelings. So I think you just need to be aware of just what it is that kind of takes you to that place, and whether or not you want to be there, if you have the time to be there. You know, this is talking about after it's been some time that your parent has died. When it's a fresh death, or even when it's a year or two after a death of a parent, I honestly feel like you should feel however the fuck you feel. Okay? If you feel like you got an attitude that day, then have the attitude. If you feel like you want to cry all the time, then cry all the time. If you feel like you need to talk to somebody, then talk to somebody. But what I didn't do is allow myself to grieve. Like, I was just like, okay, let me get back to business, because we'll talk about the reason why I was feeling like that. But I was like in this mode where, okay, Roxanne, get back to the way you were. Anybody gonna be sitting up here listening to you be sad all the time and crying and blah, blah. You know, okay, that happened. Your mama's gone. I mean, what did you expect? You know, that's your mother. Eventually she's gonna die. It was like, these are the kind of things that I was telling myself just so that I could hurry up and move on. But what I found was, when you do that, it's gonna come up eventually, okay? And usually it's gonna come up in the worst ways. It will reflect in you in the worst ways. You'll see yourself acting out in the worst ways. And, you know, when it's all said and done, you'll think back and just be like, you know what? All this was unnecessary. If I would have just allowed myself to feel how I felt at the time, instead of trying to please everybody else, then I could have gotten through that probably much more healthy, and then continue to move on with my life. But I really did put myself at a disadvantage, because I was so just angry and mad, and I was just acting out in a lot of different ways. So I'll just tell, you know, when people reach out to me on Instagram, I always say, just feel how you feel. You know, there's no way that I can tell you that, oh, you know, in a month you'll feel better. You just have to go through the feelings. And, you know, when you want to sit back and reflect on all of the good times that you had, or the, you know, the special times that you've had talks with them, or just, I mean, you know, you just have to feel it. And that's probably the best way that I can explain it to you. I still miss my mom dearly. Like, I just hate that she's not around in the age of Instagram. And because these memes, like, my mom would find the shit so funny. Like, I just wish that I was even in Los Angeles to show this stuff to my dad, because my dad is so not tech, you know, oriented. He doesn't understand. So I couldn't say, Dad, you got to get Instagram so you can go. My dad doesn't even have Facebook, okay? And I know there's some parents out there that have Facebook that are real active on it, that are my dad's age. My dad just turned 82. My mom would have been 82, you know, too, just last week. But if I was there to show him, he would get a fucking kick out of the stuff that goes on Instagram. And I know my mom too. So it's like be different things where I just be like, damn, you know, one of my best friends is about to get married, and you know, I was just like, man, if Ruby was here, you know, she'd have your dresses together and your belts and your little head pieces and whatever else you needed. Like, my mom was that one to come through in the pinch, right? At Debbie's wedding, one of her bridesmaids completely busted the whole side of her dress out. Maybe we needed another size up. My mom was back there. I mean, we literally are about to walk out. My mom was like, give me a box of safety pins. And when I tell you, my mom was sweating like a wild woman in that damn back room, pinning the side of her dress up so that you couldn't see it, but literally had to pin all the way down. I mean, my mom was the person that just came through, and I still miss her because I need her. But such is life, right? You've got to, at some point, you've got to, you know, pick up and be the mom. Now, for those who have lost their parents young, I don't have really the words for a person that's lost their kid at their mom at 8, 9, 10 years old, or even younger than that. You know, I can't imagine. I know I would be heartbroken not to be here for my kids when they were growing up at that age. So I know that that's a different kind of hurt that, you know, I just don't know if there's many of you guys who, or any of you guys who have experienced that. You know, I would imagine it's a lot of the same feelings. You probably feel cheated, okay, because, you know, even when I talk to my friends now who still have their moms and their mom get on their nerves and things like that, or, you know, I think to myself a lot of times, like, you don't know how lucky you are. Like, I wish I had my mom here talking. My mom died when I was like 34 or something like that, you know. For somebody who's 9 or 8, you know, to get to that, you might not even remember many clear things about your parents or your mother or your father. And I know that's got to be hurtful. So I don't know exactly how you would deal with that. Like I said, my rock stars out there, y'all in the chat, just what do you do to cope? I don't know, but I do know that it is difficult in any situation to have lost the parent that you loved dearly. So that's what I do. And now it is better. I will say that it is better. I don't have as many breakdown moments as I used to. And so it does get easier now. Let's talk about marriage. Okay, because I had a lot of people ask me. First, let me just get one question. Somebody asked me, they said, you always say that marriage is hard. Do you think that people shouldn't get married? I don't know if I say marriage is hard. I say that marriage is hard work. Okay, I don't say it's hard like it's hard time like you in jail. Okay, I don't regret getting married. And yes, I very much believe in the constitution of marriage. And I think that if there is a couple, whether it's a man and a woman, a man and a man, a woman and a woman, okay, or whatever else, all of these fluidity, you know, what people relate as or you know, feel that they are, if they're ready to commit in that union, I think that that is fantastic, 100%. I am still very much a traditional person, even though I try to understand what other people may be going through or feeling, or, you know, I try to look at both sides, but I still believe in the traditional value of marriage. Is it hard work? Fuck yes, it is. Okay, I'm not gonna never lie to you guys. When you first get married, you know, you're in that honeymoon stage. You don't even really 100% know what you are asking of yourself when you get married. All you know is you love somebody, they love you, you treat them well, they treat you well. You feel like this is somebody that you can build a future with. So you get married, and at the beginning it should be honeymoon-like, okay? But as time goes on, like anything, you start to realize that in this marriage is not just you. It is you and another person that you have to always consider. And that is difficult. At least it was difficult for me. Some people, you know, can conform to certain things easier than others. And it wasn't hard for me to consider my husband's feelings, but it's just something that you're not necessarily used to doing. Okay, you've been living your life as yourself, and now you've got another person that you always have to consider, not just every now and then. Always have to take into consideration how they might feel about something. That is very difficult. Okay, because there will come a time when you'll realize that no matter how strongly you feel about something, they feel completely different. And so then you have to try to work through that so that you guys can come to at least some sort of agreement that either we don't agree on this, or you can try to understand it from their perspective. And then you got to realize that you also have your own prejudices and the ways that you think in your mind that can come and cloud a lot of these visions. So it is a lot of hard work, okay? But it's worth it totally. I think that anybody that can get through, I always tell you guys, those first 7 years, if you can get through them first 7 fucking years, then it gets considerably more easy. Okay, I won't say that it is easy after that, but it gets to the point where you just start to really understand. I don't know what it is about that 7 year, but Those are the times when that test comes. And honestly, you can't appreciate the good of your marriage until you get tested. You think everything is good, but when the test comes, and if you guys can see yourself onto the other side of that test and you guys are still together, then you can say, okay, I am building a successful marriage. Okay, I'm not saying that I'm in a successful marriage. I'm saying that I am trying to become a successful marriage. To me, your marriage isn't successful until one of you dies. Okay, if you can make it all the way till one of you guys die and you guys were still married, then you can say it was a successful marriage. But any time between that time and when you first get married, you are just trying to make it through. Okay, me and Mr. have been through a lot of tough times, and we've had a lot of great times. Times are much greater now. Y'all know I was a little worried about it. It was 21 years, and that was the 7 year, because our 14 year wasn't the best either. So I was like, oh my God, is it in 7 year intervals? Like, am I gonna be having issues at 21? And this is our 21st year, and honestly, I feel like we've kind of hit a groove. Like we good. You know, I finally figured out who Mr. is, and that took a long fucking time. And I think that he finally understands me. Yes, there's times when we get on each other's nerves. I'm sure I have ways that get on his nerves. He has ways that get on my nerves. But at its core, at its essence, me and Mr., we've come through on the other side, and for right now, we are happy. Okay, now, many of the issues that we had, I won't say was caused by me or him. I think that a lot of the things where we were just young and we didn't really know what entailed, what needed to happen in this marriage. We didn't know how to talk to each other. We didn't know how to communicate with each other. And we just was going on along. Things was happening. We weren't dealing with it correctly. It was piling on top of each other, piling. And then the next thing you know, it was just fucked up, right? We got married. And I'm kind of answering what my next question, or one of the questions later on, will be. But when we got married, we were married for a few years, and then my husband decided he wanted to move to the South. He wanted to move to Louisiana. I didn't want to move to Louisiana. He wanted to move to the South. That was just kind of what he wanted. He felt like it would be a better environment for the kids. Well, I am a LA girl, okay? West Coast fool through and through. Never have seen my life any other way than me living in Los Angeles. I worked for the county. The vision was exactly like how my parents were. I had a government job, I was going to retire, and, and my kids were going to do whatever, go to school. And I had it all in my mind. So when he started talking about moving to the South, I was just like, what? But his family is in Louisiana, right? So I was like, I had already visited Louisiana enough to know that no, that is okay to visit, but it is not. I need to have a mall that has, a Macy's and a Bloomingdale's, okay, a Nordstrom's. I need to have access. Now I know in New Orleans they have more things out there, but he was talking about Baton Rouge, okay, which is not that far from New Orleans, but you know what I'm saying. Like, it just was not. It just wasn't for me. So we started talking about other cities, talked about Houston, Dallas, even mentioned something about North Carolina. But, Atlanta was kind of what a lot of my friends were kind of talking and chattering about too. So he mentioned Atlanta, and I was totally against it. But I was just like, well, if we go out there and if I go look around, maybe. So, that's what we did. Like, once you tell Mr. that, you ready to do something, he jumping on it because he knows that I'm probably going to change my mind. But I still didn't want to do it. Okay, so we came out here. We started looking. We found a house. We was like, okay, this is the house. Well, this is the house that Mr. wanted. I wanted a different house, but he decided on this other house because of all of the backyard space. And now he don't even go in the fucking backyard. The backyard is great for Blue. But, so anyway. We put the contract down on the house and everything, and next thing I know, I was moving. It was like the most craziest time in my life. It was 2005, and I was just like, what am I doing? sorry, 2004. I just couldn't believe I was going to do it. I was really set to change my mind. And I can remember my mom telling me, like, Roxanne, what do you mean you're going to change your mind? Like, what? You're married. This is your family. You know, if your husband and you have decided that this is what you're going to do, then you need to go be supportive of your husband. Okay, my mom to this day is probably responsible for me even moving out here. You know, she was just like, you guys have a child and, you know, you have kids and you just... this is what you need to do. Now, my mom was very old school as well. So we moved, but I didn't want to. Okay. So I was pissed. And I remember one of our arguments before we moved, because we had plenty of them. But one of the arguments was that, oh my God, we're going to move. And what if something happens to my parents? Like, they're getting older. I want Joe and Jada to be around them and, you know, get to know their grandparents. And he was just like, Roxanne, you can't think that way. You can't be negative. You know, you just have to move with your life. I mean, this is your family now, you know. So he had given me that same kind of talk that my mom did. So I was just like, okay. So we moved here. Didn't know anybody. I had one cousin here. Other than that, didn't know a soul. And my cousin lived very far from us. No support system. When I'm telling you, we had major support system in LA. All of my husband's dad's side of the family were there and they are very involved. All of my family was involved. So, you know, it was just like going from that to this. And I didn't have a job. You know, Mr. had the job, but it wasn't the job. It was just a job, you know. So nothing was like, you know, the only good part was we had a brand new house that we built, that we moved into. Other than that, I couldn't find too many positives in it, you guys. And then, so I was here, I was miserable. We were kind of at odds, you know. And then my friends started deciding that they were going to move here. Val moved here. Simone moved here. And when they came, that made it considerably more easy. Okay, except I was still very resentful for my husband. Okay, because I just was mad that we came. On top of that, we moved in 2004. In 2006, that was when I found out that my mom had cancer. And I was like, fucking what I said. Okay, we are all the way on the other side of the US and my mom is sick. My mom, the person that I was super close to, okay? And in my mind, I was just like so fucking mad at him for moving us out here and the kids are away and all of that. It was a hard ass time. I mean, like I said, my mom passed in October and I think Mr. thought that I was gonna leave him. But you know, what I did try to remember at the time was, even though that happened, I knew that I know that Mr. never, his intentions are always good. His intentions are always good. He's never trying to do something that's going to be harmful to me or my kids or himself or our family or anything. So that was the only thing that was in my mind. The logical part of me was just like, I just know this is nothing of his fault. This is just what happened. But the other part of me, the emotional part that wasn't thinking, that was just feeling, I just was pissed. And after that, that was when our marriage started to tumble. And it took many, many, many years. We're not the fighting type. And we aren't the arguing and all of that type. So it wasn't like it was unpleasant to be in the house and things like that. It just was not right. It just didn't feel like we were a partnership. It just, you know, and then eventually it did get to a point where it was just bad, you know. And we had to do a lot of work to get it back together. I mean, a lot of work. And it took a lot of realizing things about ourselves that we had to try to undo. I had to get rid of that resentment. And it was hard because I have been telling myself for years and years and years that this is how I felt, and now it's just like, Roxanne, if you really, really want this to work, like, you got to get that. That is the main block that's here, is your resentment. So I won't go through all of the things that we went through. We went to counseling and all of that, but I think that what it boiled down to is that we both decided that we wanted it to work. You know, I didn't want my kids to not be with both of their parents. I didn't grow up in that environment. My brothers both were married. You know, my oldest brother died, but he was married till he died. And then my other brother is still married, you know, and it was just like, damn, I'm failing at this, you know? So I had to have a lot of talk with myself. What I will say about Mr. is he's very, very expressive. I am the one that isn't like that. I've tried to get much better, but he's always gonna say how he feels. He's just gonna always tell me. He ain't that husband that stays quiet. I'm the wife that stays quiet. So he was the one that was really talking it, you know, through to me. And, you know, I just had to realize a lot of things about myself now, and not saying that he was not at fault, because he had his things too, but that's not my story to tell. All I can say is he did the work that he needed to do, and I did the work, and I feel like we still do the work. Okay. It's not perfect by any means, but it's not horrible. And like I said, I know what horrible is. So I can say that. You know, Mr.'s a good person. And yeah, 21 years, y'all. 21 years. Now, where did we meet? We actually met twice. It's funny because I was with Debbie. See, the thing about LA is a lot of the neighborhoods, you know, if you grew up in that neighborhood, you kind of knew everybody in the areas. All the schools kind of knew, you knew people from different schools in the areas or whatever. So Deborah had gone to middle school with Mr. And then he ended up moving out of LA, but he grew up in LA, so he knew a lot of the same people that we ended up going to high school with, because that's where I met Debbie, in high school. And so he knew the group of people that I went to high school with, even though he had moved out of LA. And then I was friends with Debbie, and so when we graduated from high school, you know, everybody would have parties in different places and stuff, and we would go. So the very first time that I met him, I was at a friend named Tisha's house. God rest her soul, she just died recently, but she lived in the Valley, and we were there, and one of our friend Markel came to the party, like right at the end, because that's how he was always fucking late. And he had Mr. with him, and we were talking, and he just said, you live over by Crenshaw Slauson area? And I was like, yeah. And he says, oh, okay, because I always see you in your white Jeep. I had my white Jeep at the time. Y'all could tell me shit, okay? Could tell me nothing, bitch. He was like, yeah, I always see you around town, and I always have my name on the back of my license plate. I mean, you know, on the back of the Jeep. And he was like, because, you know, I would always travel down Slauson going home. So he was like, oh yeah, and that was it. It was nothing else. But he did mention, like, oh yeah, I always see you over in that area. So probably about 3 years later, yeah, that's probably about 3 years later, Debbie was invited by Markel again to a picnic. And it was out in Palos Verdes, and you know, he gave us the address. So we went out to this picnic, and it turned out that it was Mr.'s family reunion. They had a family reunion every summer. And it was actually his family's picnic, but that Markel, you know, that was another thing he did. He would invite everybody to their shit, so, you know, somebody else's shit. So we went to the picnic, and then that's when I met Mr. Like, oh, okay, I remember meeting you a few years ago at Tisha's house. You know, we all had a good time at the picnic, and then afterwards, you know, and me and Debbie was always good for having like an impromptu kind of a party. So we had told everybody to come back to our townhouse. And so everybody came there, and then that was sort of like when I found out that he might have been interested. And we were probably 23 at this time. But Roxanne being who Roxanne is, I was involved with other guys and seeing other people, and I just wasn't really interested like that. We tried, but he was just real nice. And, you know, it was just sort of like, oh yeah, but no, okay. But we've always stayed friends. We stayed friends over the years, and I had some shit that I went through, traumatic, when I was about 25, and he was there. He helped me through it, and I just started to realize, like, okay, Roxanne, man, maybe it's time for you to, you know, pay attention to the people that are there for you, the people that care for you, and not running after niggas that don't care about you. And, you know, it's just time to grow up and look at things, you know, as a grown-up, not for some nigga that you can look at and tell gonna be trouble from the minute you see him. You know, maybe it's time to, you know, just get real with your feelings and real with your life. So I decided we were going to try to figure out if we could really be together. But it was weird because we were friends, or at least I thought it was going to be weird, but it wasn't. Like, we just got together. I mean, we got together, even though we had known each other for like 4 years. We got together in July, and by October we were engaged. You know. And somebody asked me, how did he propose? Well, Mr. used to be the poet, and he used to write a lot. He doesn't do any of that anymore, but back in the day he used to really like to write. And so he had written, one time we were just kind of laying around, he had written a poem to me. This is just at the house, me and him, you know, when we were together. And you know, he had said it to me and asked me what did I think about it. I thought it was nice and whatever. So fast forward to a few weeks later, we're at my parents' house. My parents were in Vegas, and we had been tossing around the idea of marriage, but nothing serious. Like, we was not thinking like that. We was both broke, okay, and you know, so it was nothing in my mind where I thought we was gonna really try to do something like that. But anyway, we were at my parents' house, and Debbie and Rashawn was there, because Debbie and Rashawn and I had been out all that day. And we got back to the house, and suddenly all my friends started showing up. Like, but it wasn't like weird, because it was just sort of like, you know, we lived in LA and my parents' house was there. Like, if you saw a car out there, you would stop by, and you know, so my friends started showing up, and it was like, hey girl, what you doing here? I was, you know, okay, you know, so we kind of started saying like, okay, we're gonna cook a little something and have a little something here at the house, with my parents being in Vegas. And so once everybody was kind of sitting there and we were watching something on TV, and, you know, we had drinks and all of that, we were just kind of sitting around in the den, Mr. starts saying his poem from the kitchen. And I was like, what? Like, what are you doing? Like, ixnay on the arm pay in front of all these people, right? So I was like, they don't want to hear this shit. So that one of my friends, I remember Charlotte, I'll never forget, Charlotte was like, oh my God, turn down the TV. I still didn't register. And she said, what'd he say? What'd he say? So then he started coming from the kitchen, and he's walking towards me, and I'm sitting on the couch like, oh my God. But, you know, Mr. likes a little of attention. So I was just like, what is, nobody wants to hear this shit. And he comes in front of me and he kneels down, and whatever the poem was, at the end he says, and that's why I want you to wear this ring or something. And he opens the box, and my ring is there, this one. And I was just like so fucking shocked, because I just told you we were broke. We had no money. Okay. And I just, turns out one of his cousins, who was actually the kid's godmother, back then she had an empty credit card, and she let him put the ring on the credit card and told him he could pay it. You know, so he paid her back that way. But yeah, that's the way I got engaged. You guys, I was just so shocked. The ring was beautiful. You know, the diamond, the first diamond that he got me was a little bit under a carat, but it was so clear and it was beautiful, and I just was floored. I mean, I just could not believe it. And I was so happy, because I had a lot of shit that I had recently gone through, And it was like all coming together now. You know, I remember calling my parents, and my mom and dad were like, what? You got engaged? Like, oh, I got, you know, my dad, I got to get my jeweler's loop when I get home so I can look at this ring. Hold on, y'all, my phone about to die. But my parents were happy because I think they probably were, concerned. Hold on. Is the thing up here? Yeah, it's right there. Why I can't find the hole, y'all? Okay, but like I said, my parents were happy because they knew what I had gone through, and you know, they knew that Mr. was a good guy because he had been around. He would come over and we would get together at my parents' house on Sundays, every Sunday. All of my family, my brothers and both of their wives and their kids. And so it was like every Sunday family get together. So they had gotten to know him. He would, he would want to come over and spend time with them and everything. So yeah, that's sort of how we got engaged. I don't know what other questions. How do we get through disagreements? Did I tell you guys that? I mean, what disagreements are is just a chance for you to communicate and get your feelings out of the way. And we still aren't the best at this because I don't like confrontation. So it is hard for me a lot of times to say what my feelings are. And then I think that Mr. can be gun shy a lot of times because of how, the shit that we've been through in the past. So maybe sometimes he might not want to say something that he think is going to upset me because then it's going to be some shit again. But what you come to think of is when you're in a relationship, every fight doesn't have to mean the end. Okay, it doesn't have to be like, oh, now what we gonna do now? You don't have to start feeling like this is it. Like, this is just a chance for you guys to express yourself and either come to some agreement or agree to disagree. There's just gonna be times where you just don't always agree, but there's still a way for you to feel the way that you feel and still respect how your partner feels. And so communication is really, honestly, one of the main things that have helped us. Communication and compromise. It's the 2 C's, you guys. Communication and compromise. And just realizing that certain things is just what it is. And everything's not worth a fight, and I tell you guys all the time, like when I go back and forth with somebody, I go back and forth twice. I say something, they say I'm wrong, they give me their opinion, I correct them and say, no, this is what it is. They still want to argue me down and tell me that I'm wrong. I say, okay, that's it. I know what I feel. I know that I believe that I'm right. I'm probably not going to change your mind. You're not going to change my mind. So there's no sense in us arguing over this. It just is something that we feel. Now, I'm talking about things that are superficial that don't mean nothing. I mean, big decisions are something different. But you know what I mean? Most fights are superficial. They can turn into something bigger, but most fights are that. So anyway, I think that's pretty much how I feel about the whole marriage thing. What advice do you have for planning a wedding besides getting a wedding planner? I got married so long ago, you guys. I was blessed to have my parents who paid for everything. I planned my own wedding, but the hotel that we had it at had a wedding planner as well, so I kind of worked in conjunction with her. In this day and age, I know it's done very, very differently. So I would say, if you can't afford to get a wedding planner, or if you want to do everything on your own, then there's so many things online. There's so many wedding planner books. I even had one back then, but there's so many books that will take you step through step at certain times when you should be doing this, when you should be ordering it. I mean, you can do it on your own. It's a lot of work, but you can do it definitely on your own. Okay, so that's my tip. I mean, if you got to have a budget, you've got to set a budget for yourself, and you've got to stick as closely to that budget as you can. Okay, like I said, I was blessed. Like, my parents paid for it. I was so shocked because Mr. and I was not thinking that they were going to do that. And then I remember when we went to the hotel, and my mom was just like, how much is it going to be? And she, then she started to say, well, we want more people, and we want this, and we want that. And as long as she was paying for it, like, I didn't care. You know, I'm easy that way. So we went from saying we were going to have 100 people to, like, I told you guys it was like 337 people. Like, my mom wanted to invite like all of her. I was perfectly fine with it. We had a blast at my wedding. All of my best friends and you know, close friends and close family members and my you know, Mr.'s his best friends and all that. We had all them in our wedding. They were all special to us. They were there, you know, and I can still look back fondly on that day. So you want it to be special. It's not about how much you spend on it, but it's just got to mean something to you. And it can be done with the highest of the high budget and even a very frugal and, you know, simple budget. So good luck to you, whoever that is that's getting married. I done spent 40 minutes on that, y'all. Let's move on to the next one. What's it like to be an empty nester? I can tell that my house feels different only because I made my kids go through like their entire rooms, throw out the shit that they didn't want, take the shit with them that they needed to take, and their rooms are pretty much empty. I was like, get that ass on, take this mess with you. So it feels strange, especially with Jada, because Joe's been gone. But Jada, first of all, has a very silent presence in our house anyway, because Jada does not talk much. She goes in her room, she closes her door. You know, it would be times when it would be Saturday, it'd be 3 o'clock, and Mr. was like, is she gonna even come out to go to the bathroom? Like, is she in there? She just was always a quiet person in the home, but yet and still, I do still feel her absence. But the thing is Jada was gone all summer. Like, Jada would leave for months at a time to go to LA to go stay with my dad and, you know, be there with Debbie and them. So I'm used to Jada being gone for long lengths of times. It still doesn't feel weird because she had really just got back from LA, and then a couple of weeks later she was leaving for school. So, you know, it still hasn't hit yet. It's just a very profound sadness. Like, you know, I miss Jada. You know, even though Jada gets on my nerves, okay, Jada knows how to pull every fucking heartstring. You know, she is very different than me, and she's very different than Joe. Joe and I have similar personalities, but even our personalities are not 100% alike. He's a know-it-all like his dad. But Jada, she's just different. And so the sadness is like, you know, just seeing her face and her deadpan expression, or, you know, her just walking through the house, going to the kitchen, getting her something to drink, and then going back to her room. Like, those are the things that I can feel. But, you know, the dogs have taken up a lot of that quietness. Blue has made his presence known. Jasmine is pretty calm, but the two of them together, you know, he makes Jasmine very upset. So I now have new kids, you know, and it's just a new chapter, and I'm excited about it too. You know, it's time now with me and Mr. You know, I was just telling him the other day, we were sitting and watching TV, and we were in the bed, but we were both like leaned up, you know, had the pillows behind us, and we were watching TV, and I was like, this is exactly how my mom and dad used to be. Like, they'd be in their bed, in the room. Like, I would go in there and ask them, like, can I take the car or something like that, and they would both just be sitting in there, you know, my mom in her rollers, my dad watching TV, and it was like, we didn't became our parents. Like, I'm fucking old now, okay? Yeah, I'm looking forward to this whole new empty nest thing, and I don't feel like I will miss Jada the same as Joe, because Jada's much closer. As a matter of fact, Jada's gonna be here Friday. So I don't even have a chance to miss her, because she's probably gonna be showing up. You know, Jada is much more independent. She gonna find a ride. She gonna get her ass here. You know, Joe is for, you know, 8 hours away. So that's driving. So it's not as easy for him to come. But yeah, I'm looking forward to this whole empty nest thing. So I feel pretty good. And what do we plan on doing now? Well, I plan on really concentrating on my planner channel. September is go, and I got some things there that I'm really excited about that we'll see. You know, if you follow me on Planet Rocks, then eventually you'll know that. And then Mr. said he about to start hunting, honey. We went to Bass Pro Shop and got him a rifle and all this shit. You know, he ready. So that's what the next chapter involves so far. How do I balance my personal life with, you know, this channel or being on social media, I only tell you guys what I want you to know. And that's always been how it's been, and that's how it will continue to be. Okay, I feel like a lot of the things that I have said today, or things that I have said sporadically throughout my videos, now you're just kind of getting it all together. But I'm not going to ever say things. There's a lot of things that go on, a lot of things that go on in my life that you guys won't know because I won't tell you. And I think that's the easiest way to kind of maneuver yourself through social media. And then I think another thing is trying to be the most positive person that I can. Of course, I can be negative like anybody else, but I try to be positive. I try to be fair to my viewers. I try to respect them, and so in return, my viewers respect me. And so even if we don't agree on things, or even if there's been times when in my comments, you know, I may have gone back a little bit more and forth with somebody than I normally would, the respect has always been there. So people can definitely find out, you know, things about your lives, but I just feel like because, you know, the Roxstars and people kind of just feel like they would give me that space, you know, and I really appreciate it. Because it doesn't have to be that way, and I realize that. But I try to be careful. I try to be fair to my friends, to my family. I try not to share things that just aren't, you know, that doesn't have anything to do with me. If I'm talking about, you know, anybody else, I just really try to keep it very focused on myself, this channel, what I'm talking about, which doesn't have anything to do with my personal. So that's how I kind of keep that balanced. I told you guys why we moved to Atlanta, because Mr. thought that it was a better environment for the kids. Somebody asked, why did you move to Atlanta? What do you miss about LA other than family? I miss the weather. Even though the weather is changing there, it's totally different than it used to be. But LA, you'll never be able to beat the weather in LA. You'll never be able to beat the fact that you can go to the mountains and go skiing and go to the beach, and all within a few hours of Los Angeles. I miss the general attitude of people from Los Angeles. Atlanta actually is not bad, because Atlanta has a lot of transplants, people from somewhere else, and there's actually a big community of people from Los Angeles or from the West Coast here in Atlanta. But I still miss, there's still some very antiquated ways of thinking sometimes in Atlanta. And it's just something that I have to get used to. Or in Georgia, you know, this is a red state. This is a Republican state with all of the politics and shit that go on right now. It, you know, it can be hard because, you know, I feel like California is so much more progressive, and, you know, it's a Democratic state, and, you know, we all kind of have the same mindset no matter what color you are. You know, when you hear about this racist shit, a lot of racist things that go on right now, even though racism is everywhere, I'm not, you know, stupid, but there's a whole lot more of it down south. And that's something I always have to be aware of. You know, this Atlanta is chocolate city, or black folks, or whatever you want to call it, but no, not outside of Atlanta, not so much. And the further you go, you best turn that ass back around. So that's what I miss, is just the general thinking and feel of that side of the country as opposed to this one. Do I think of moving back to LA? Not really. If I had a lot of money, like if I knew that I could live at Redondo Beach and have like this bomb ass house, I would love to move back to LA. But other than that, no, it doesn't. Only because LA is so high, and it's hard for me to think about spending that kind of money when I know that I could spend a fraction of that here in Atlanta and get that or better in a house. You know, just the cost of living in LA, and yeah, all that. I mean, I have friends who have 6-figure incomes and still struggling in Los Angeles, you know, to buy a home. And, you know, so I was just like, 6 figures, you should be comfortable, and you can be very comfortable in Atlanta on 6 figures. Not so much in LA. So yeah, I don't think about moving back, because now I think of the bigger picture. I want to be able to provide for my kids. I want to be able to help them whenever they need help, the same way that my parents helped me to this day when I need help. You know, I didn't come from that way of thinking that I want my kids to take care of me. I mean, I know that that's the way a lot of you know, I won't say black because I don't know if it's just black people, but you know, my parents, I don't even know if I'm gonna do as well as I think my parents might have done. Like, I want to be able to be there for my children like that. So I know I can do that here in Atlanta, being in LA, unless some shit moved around and you know, things came on down real good for your girl. I don't know if I could do that there. So nope, no plans to move in there. And the kids actually they like Atlanta, so they'll be here as well. Accomplishments. There's somebody that actually said that, you know, they're 30 years old, they don't feel like they've achieved shit. You know, you should never put a time limit on your accomplishments. Some people achieve at 17, 18, 19, especially now. There's so many ways for you to make your own self do well. But then there are other people that don't do it by 30, might not even do it by 40 or 50. Listen, if you work hard at what you want and you stay consistent and you are true to the consistency and that hard work, then it will pay off for you. But you can't think that just because somebody else did something in a year or two that it's going to happen for yourself that same way, you know. And that is probably what's really bad about, you know, people right now, is the comparison factor. And because social media, Instagram and Facebook and all, Twitter, everything, you can now look at what somebody else is doing and you can compare yourself to them. But the whole thing is, first of all, that is not true a lot of the times. You know, like I just told you earlier, I only show you what I want you to show. I only tell you what I want you to know, right? Okay. The same with all that social media stuff. People are not going to post when shit is fucked up. Okay, because then what? So we only gonna post when everything is good, or you know, we gonna make sure that we create the illusion that everything is good, and it might not be. You cannot go by that. And so you have to get out of that mindset. That's why a lot of times I won't even be on Instagram. It'll be days when I won't even look on Instagram, because first of all, I don't care, but I know that my kids, their generation is all about likes and, you know, what people see. Like, I don't even pay attention to who follows me. I don't look at any of that stuff. When somebody sends, you know, I see a little blue box that says, oh, such and such followed you, but I don't look at the name. I don't care. I appreciate it. I love the fact that people follow me and find me, you know, interesting enough to want to know what I'm doing and things like that. And I love to share what I do share, but it doesn't make me. But I think that this generation don't know that, because this is all that they've known. So it's important to just remember that you can only do what you're gonna do. And when the shit comes that's supposed to be good for you, that's supposed to happen to you, then it will happen. Stop comparing. Stop looking at your friends that's 30 years old that's really out there doing it, because you will never have the full story, okay? And even if you do, good for them. Be happy for them. That's what they got. You know what, your time is coming. Just look at it that way. I still look at it that way. My time is coming, you guys. My time. I know at some point I'm going to have my name in lights. What made me start a YouTube channel? I just wanted something. It was a few things. I wanted a beauty channel. That was what I was going to originally do. But I wasn't disciplined enough to stick to the beauty channel. So I started reviewing shows, and I've told you guys this plenty of times, because shows come on every week, it made me disciplined, because I knew that I had to talk about that show every week. And so my beauty channel, because I had two at one time, it was called I Am Foxy Roxy, for those of you guys who've been watching me for years and years and years. But that beauty channel, I ended up cutting it out and just concentrating on this one channel. Now I've added my Planet Rocks channel, and I really love the planner community. I've put it on the back burner because this shit with the kids' school and financial aid, and I'm still going through it with Joe. But hopefully we get that done sometime this week. You know, it was entirely too much. I had a lot of emotions I was going through, and mentally going through, and it's just like I can't fuck around with that planner channel right now. But I'm about to be right back on it, because once I get Joe settled, like my mind, I can just concentrate on the things that I want. People say, where do I see this channel in 5 years? I have no idea. I I would love to do other things, but it's all about the time that I have or the time that I'm willing to give it. And it's also about, I don't know what else I would do. Like, people even ask me about podcasts and say, would you do a podcast? I wouldn't mind doing a podcast, but it would have to be different. Like, I don't want to do a podcast that's the same as what's on YouTube, because, I would like for it to be something else. Not quite sure what, and that's why I probably have never really thought about it, because I don't know what else I would do. I like to give advice, but you guys know that I'm also what does somebody call me, an empath? Is that what they call it? Like, I start taking to heart, all the people calling me with all of their problems and shit, then I be worried about their problems, and I be, I be stressed out about the shit they going through. I don't even know them, So it was hard for me after a while, but I don't know. I just don't know what I want to do next on this channel. I love my channel and I love my Roxstars, and so many of you guys who have been loyal and have been here. I know that we could stand to do some different things. I just don't know. I honestly just don't know what I would do. What are some of y'all suggestions? What would you guys want? I know people want me to do beauty channels, but I just really don't think, first of all, beauty market is so saturated, and I don't think that I am going to do anything that hasn't been done 5,000 times before. I'm not that innovative. Like, I can't come up with new ideas and shit like that. So I just honestly don't know. So you guys can give me some suggestions on that. Challenges and frustrations as a YouTuber. I mean, they're just what you would think would be challenging. People that are rude in your comments. I don't get it often, but every now and then somebody will say some slick shit. It used to be hard for me to let things pass, not anymore. Like, I'll see something, people will say some shit about me, or say things, and I know now how to just turn it off. If it gets to the point where it gets so annoying to me that I feel like I want to lash out, I'll just log out. I'll just be like, let me get out these fucking comments, because I'm gonna say something and it's not gonna be nice, and then they gonna be mad at me. I'm gonna lose a follower. It didn't even have to go there. So let's just be mature and let them say what the fuck they want to say. It's just like the other day, there was another person that follows me that's a YouTuber themselves, and the person had left a comment, and then underneath their comment, one of their subscribers must have went on there and says, oh, your channel is much better. You can hear your sound quality or something is better. And I just looked at that and I was just like, now, first of all, that's fine that you think that. There's plenty of people out there better than me, so I don't care. And you guys know that I just got this fucking the phone thing to work, So I didn't care about quality, sound. I was like, the motherfuckers can see me and they can hear me. Okay, I still don't know why we need to see each other this clearly, and I'm not doing anything to demonstrate, but fine. It's the times, this high definition shit, whatever. Y'all stressing me out about this goddamn wig, and now you can probably see that I'm sweating. You wouldn't have saw that if I had my other shit, and all that. But I was just thinking to myself, like, now you couldn't have just left that on their channel. Okay, it was like some underhanded shade, but I was fine, because the person that they left it under, he's a good guy, and obviously he has fans on his channel like he should, and fine. They just decided to leave the comment over here, but for me to see it. So but now these things don't bother me anymore. The more frustration with YouTube is internal YouTube issues. YouTube will never make it comfortable for any YouTuber. Shit changes so much. Honey, it was the glory days about 1.5 years ago. Bitch, I was making all kind of fucking money. I mean, it was a point about 7 good months. I was like, if this shit continue, okay? But the working word is if, because then they changed it. The bottom fell out. We wasn't making that kind of money. But these things happen throughout the years. You will find that things happen that change your progression, or how much money you can make, or they make all these new rules and ramifications, and it just, so it gets frustrating. It will never make it comfortable enough for me anyway to quit my job and be a full-time YouTuber, because that shit is stressful. You guys see Brittany, I'm sure she has plenty of stressful days, because now we've got to rely on something that these motherfuckers out here will change it up in a heartbeat, okay? And you will see it will drop. And then you got to come up with other ways to really try to make it happen. And many of us YouTubers who've been around any length of time, we have felt it. Even newer YouTubers who gained a following and started to make some money, they ain't making the money we used to make unless, they're doing other things. They've got all these, these new programs and shit that you can do with YouTube that can help you make more money. But just the general doing a video, posting it, and getting money from the advertisement, oh no, honey, it ain't like it used to be. It is not like it used to be. I'm telling you, a year and a half ago, I was fucking in the money. That's all I can say. So that's the frustration, because it's not the same now. You got to do double the work for half of the pay, okay? So I guess that's like with any job, right? But I still do love YouTube. I don't do it for the money, but you best believe the money that I have from YouTube is needed and necessary. I don't take it for granted at all. I need my income from this, so I can't afford to just let it go, okay? And that's why when I almost lost my channel, bitch was in the deepest depression, because I was just like, oh fuck, this is, I'm gonna have to, yeah. So, but otherwise, I really do love YouTube. YouTube has been so good to me, and so many things have happened to me good that you guys don't even know about because of this channel. So yeah, I love my YouTube job. Somebody asked me how long was my lunch break. My lunch break is an hour. Why haven't I done a video on the hairstyle? See, we about to get into the random video questions now. I didn't do a video on the hairstyles because it was too late. Like, if I didn't do it like right at the beginning, I didn't feel like jumping on the bandwagon, that long afterwards. The DMX challenge, I think that's what they're talking about. I just didn't do it. I mean, I could have, but I was just like, too late. Have I ever been a stay-at-home mom? The only time I was a stay-at-home mom is when we first moved here to Atlanta. We moved here in October of 2004, and I didn't get a job until June of 2005. And at first it was hard for me, but right when I was getting in the swing of things, like about April, May, I was starting to, March, April, I should say, I was starting to really feel this whole, stay-at-home mom shit. And then, I found a job, which is the job that I'm still at today. So yeah, no, I never really have been considered a stay-at-home mom. That wasn't by choice. That was just I hadn't found a job yet. And I don't know if I'm stay-at-home mom material. Maybe now that the kids are grown and gone, but I don't have a problem with getting up and going to work every day. I just don't know if stay-at-home mom is my jam. I need to be able to be up and out and doing something. And I guess stay-at-home moms still do something, but I would definitely have to have something else lined up in that whole stay-home thing. How do you deal with stress or anxiety? I have a hard time dealing with stress and anxiety, but when it gets super bad and I'm just anxious and stressed, I will just be like, okay, you know what, fuck this, Roxanne, because you about to drive yourself crazy. I think about 3 weeks ago, I had the worst day ever. I think I even did a video that day, or maybe the next day. I think I canceled my videos that day. It was every fucking thing that could go wrong that day did. From the morning I even got into it with Mr. Some Bush. I mean, it was just one thing after the other. And I just was like, okay, Roxanne, let's just say fuck this day and let's just start over tomorrow. A lot of things with stress and anxiety you just can't control. I am a worrier. I worry very much about a lot of things. I don't express it, but I worry about things. So my shit comes at night when I can't sleep. I'll lay there, I'll be thinking about all of these things, and and so then what happens is you don't get no sleep, then you be tired the next day and all of that. I just really try to have self-talk with myself and just say, Roxanne, eventually this will pass, because you've been through enough shit now to know that it eventually will pass. But when you're dead smack in the middle of it, I don't know how to deal with it. I just go through the days like anybody else. I mean, how do you guys deal with it? You know, what do you do that relieves your stress and anxiety? I mean, other than things that make me feel good. And, you know, me and Mr. like to go eat and go to the movies and shit. You know, we like to do our little staycations and go, and, you know, we plan on doing that more now that, you know, that the kids are gone. You know, those kind of things always help. But internally, like really trying to figure out what makes me get over this anxiety and the stress, I don't. It just finally shit gets better and then it goes away. And then I'm okay until the next thing stresses me out and then I'm stressed out and anxious again. But you guys give me some hints. Give me some tips on, you know, what you guys do to fix that. This is now at 1 hour and 7 minutes. Oh, I know it's not. No, it's not. Somebody would like more videos with Blue, okay, and with Jasmine. Actually, they just said Blue. Jasmine probably wouldn't be in many videos, only Blue, because he's a young puppy and he's excited. So maybe that's mostly on Instagram, though. I can't see myself vlogging on here. Will I do more story times? Only when I have stories to tell. I don't really have any. I mean, I guess I got things that can always be a story, but you know, to me, it has to be entertaining. Like I can't just tell a story just to be telling it. So yeah, story time is never gone. It's just, I need a good story. I've got a few good stories, but they're not just me. It's my friends, and it's shit that I don't know if my friends would want me to be telling the story. So, you know, but I do have some that's kind of on ice. We still got to see. When are we getting the book published? I have no idea. I'm not even gonna lie to you guys. That book, I have 2 completed books. One that's been professionally edited. The other one hasn't. They are under my bed. I wrote them back when I had Joe and I needed an outlet. They're dated now, so I would have to go back and I'd have to change a lot of things, because like in one of the books I talk about a Walkman and I talk about rollerblading and all of this stuff, you know. Those are just things that we was doing then. Of course we're not doing now. I mean, it would take some time for me to get back into them and re-edit and all that, but you guys, really, I don't have time with YouTube. Maybe I'll have time more now because you know, the kids are gone and their social lives and me running them all around and all of that. So I don't know when we're going to get it published, but it is still a goal of mine to get those books published. I had posted one of the books up and many of you guys read it and seemed to, you know, I got an okay response. The second one wasn't edited, you know, yet. So I would have to get that done before I even did it. But, and actually the girl who edited my book, she's now a book writer. Her name is Elaine. She's a Christian book writer. Elaine Mitchell, is it? I'd have to look it up. But yeah, she's a book writer herself now. She was just an editor back in the day. Braces, what's life like without them? It's great. Y'all know I was over them fucking braces. I hated the braces, but they did what they were supposed to do. I actually left my retainer home today and I'm all stressed like, oh my God, I'm not gonna have my retainer on all day. But as soon as I get home tonight, I will put them on. But it's great. I feel like I invested my money and it was worth it. I know a lot of people get caps and get veneers and things like that. If I had the money, I probably would have did that too, but I didn't. Or at least, even though braces cost pretty much the same amount, well, not really. Veneers are still more if you get them done right. But the thing with braces is I could pay monthly. Veneers, baby, they want that shit done now because your teeth are done now. So they want their money now. So that's why I didn't get them. And then, you know, it's always, you run the risk of getting them too big and, you know, it'd be wrong and all that. I don't have no lipstick on my teeth, do I? So, yeah, life without them is fantastic. I love it. If you were presented with a TV show, what would you want it to be? I think I would want my TV show to be very much like Top of the Blogs. I would love to have a show where I'm talking to the camera and, you know, with the graphics and maybe even clips about whatever I'm talking about and all that. Like a news entertainment gossip show is what I would love in my perfect mind. I'm not a reality show person because I can't imagine opening in my life up to nobody. Y'all remember when Erica Dixon went on that reality show and they was talking about roaches in her house? Like that kind of shit was like, you know, it's fucked up because you know, you can't tell when the roaches is coming, okay? And maybe she was just having a bug situation at the time, but you know, it was just like that kind of invasion into your personal life is just like, that's all a nigga would need, okay? Because honey, them big ass water bugs or something be done got in the house, and then I'll be on a reality show and then y'all be like, Roxanne got roaches and Roxanne don't have roaches. Do not have roaches. But that's just like the thing. Like, I just can't imagine opening myself up to that kind of scrutiny. Fashion trends. What would you like to see die? Is there a particular look in past videos that you hated? Yeah, there are many looks. I go back and look and I'll be like, Roxanne, this eyeshadow girl, what was you doing? Okay. For the most part, I've always loved my hair. I mean, there's some hit and misses. I know there's plenty of hairstyles that you guys didn't like. I probably the most hated was my Mama Joyce wig. Y'all just hated that. Okay. But I actually liked it. It was cute to me, but y'all didn't feel it. But yeah, there's many looks. I mean, you know, it's never 100% with anything. So what time is it? Oh my God, I gotta hurry up. As far as trends, I don't mind trends because that's just what they are, trends. Like, I'm not I'll wear a few little trendy things, but for the most part, all of the clothes that I wear, I have been having for years. If you guys go back and just look at the thumbnails of my pictures, I have those clothes I have been wearing for years and years and years. I add things every now and then. I'll buy some new shirts and stuff like that, new dresses or whatever. But for the most part, I have shit that I can wear for the next 20 years, 30 years, okay? Because it is, you know, it stays in. I try not to go outside the trends. But trends are fun, and, you know, kids, or not just kids, but you know, that's the whole idea of the trend is it's just what's fun for now. And then when the shit goes, it's probably time for it to go anyway. So if I was really to put my finger on it, what don't I don't know. I'd have to think about that. Oh, I know what for men, I'm the skinny jean thing. I've never liked that look. That's for men, huh? I shouldn't be talking for men. Have I ever considered acting? I've thought about it very, very loosely and generally, and no, it's never been like I never felt like, you know, I was going to act. I feel like I can act if you know, if it called for me to, but now I'm old, and I mean, I'm not too old, but you know. I act a lot on this channel. Like, I feel like I get a lot of my acting chops out on here. So I mean, I guess you can say that's considering acting. Skin routine for my face. Well, you guys, here's the thing. I had real bad acne. Okay, I had no acne all the way through high school. When I got in college, I started to get acne a little bit, but not that bad. By the time I was about 25, my skin was fucking out of control. Okay, it was terrible. I had really horrible acne, like right along here, you know. I had hair was growing. I can't believe I'm telling you guys this, but I had fucking hair growing under here, and it was breaking out my neck, and I was super self-conscious about it. So I decided to take charge. Okay, first of all, I went to a dermatologist. They put me on Accutane. Accutane changed my life. It was a whole lot of work. Accutane is not necessarily the best, you know, medication. A lot of danger comes along, you know, associated with Accutane, mostly because I think it's a lot of vitamin B, I think. Is it B or D? One of those vitamins is a lot in there, so it can cause you to have, your child can be affected. You're pregnant. If you were pregnant, you'd have like a deformed child or a child with Down syndrome, or, you know, so there's a lot of things that can happen from Accutane. But I'll tell you what, when you are in the middle of like the acne, like cystic acne that hurts when you lean over, pulsates, and it's always ahead and gross, and okay, when you're like that, you don't care. You will take any chance. I wasn't having no fucking baby at the time, so I was like, fine, come on, I'm not gonna get pregnant, so I won't, you know, make sure I'm gonna be fine. And it completely changed. In 6 months, my skin was clear. I took it right before I got married. So from January to June or July, I was on Accutane, and by the time I got married, my skin was flawless. Okay? After that, when we moved here to Atlanta, this neck shit was getting out of control. I couldn't stand it. I was super self-conscious about it. I went to Ideal Image. I had to find out about laser treatment, and I paid like $6,000 for them to laser, all of this, and that completely got rid of that. Okay, none of the hairs was coming. I was like, it was a year treatment. I was going every couple of weeks or something like that. And I was dedicated to it because I was just like, I cannot keep having this hyperpigmentation. You know, the hair would grow, I would pluck it out, it would turn black, the hair would curl back in there. If I couldn't get the hair all the way out, it would curl back in there, it would create a bump, and then it would just, you know, and you've seen women go, I feel for all women when I see women with that problem, because I know what it is. You know, you start getting to the point where you trying to shave it. I never shaved, but you know, you trying to put makeup on it, but makeup on bumps that's feverish and that you've been digging at trying to get this, that don't look right, you know. So then you just got, it was horrible. So I can't believe, like I said, I can't believe I'm sharing this because I was super self-conscious about it, but it did work. I don't have it. Every now and then I might see a little whisker. The motherfuckers is white now. That's how I'll be like, oh, I am really getting old. And every now and then, I mean, literally, I might just get one. And I used to have a lot. It was a lot going on. I'll just pull it out. But if I feel like if I start seeing like 3 or 4, it was a lifetime membership that I got. So I can still call Ideal Image to this day and be like, I need to come so you all can zap me up a little bit and clear me up. But nothing like it used to be, you guys. It was bad. But anyway, after I was on Accutane for years, I didn't have any more acne problems. And then maybe about 5 years ago, all of a sudden my skin started to break out. Nothing bad, but it was enough. And I was just like, what is this? Don't tell me I'm about to start getting acne again. So I went back to the dermatologist. They put me on clindamycin tea, I believe it was called. It was like a topical treatment that I would put on every night and every morning. And then retin-A at night, every night. And I did that for like a year. And then once my skin got back to, you know, good condition, then I stopped using retin-A every night. Okay, I started using it maybe every 3 nights or so. Now I probably only use retin-A once every 2 weeks. But my skin has now gotten back in control and it doesn't have any issues. Anytime I feel like something is about to start happening, I'll just put the clindamycin on there again, and you know, it'll knock it back out. But I don't have really any other skin routine, you guys. At night, I wash my face with Neutrogena. Okay, in the morning, I put some, if I remember, I put some lotion on my face. Just whatever. I mean, it's not scent, you know, I don't put like Bath and Body Works lotion, but if it's some Jergens, some Vaseline Intensive Care, some, you know, I just put that on there and I'm good. And really, that's it. I have learned that I can't do too much to my skin. Just leave it the shit alone and let it just be what it's gonna be, and that's when it works best. Okay, so that is my skin routine. So that's why when people ask me to do like a skin video or something, or you know, talking about my routine, it's like it's gonna be 2 minutes because I'm gonna wash my face. That's gonna be it. I mean, I don't even use makeup cloths, you know, wipe off the makeup, and I don't even do that. So I guess it's not much to it. Somebody said, do you work out or are you naturally fit? I don't work out. I do walk now. I've been walking ever since I got blue. We got blue in March and I've been walking. Not so much these last few weeks because it's been hot as fuck in Atlanta. I just can't do it. But that's the only exercise I do. I'm just not a fan of exercising, but the walking thing has really helped both me and Blue, because Blue is very high energy. He's a pit bull puppy, if you guys don't know. Well, he's like 9 months. He'll be 9 months soon. But so he needs his energy burnt off because it makes for a pleasant evening in my home. And then I, you know, in turn can walk and it helps. Now I will say that I can tell for sure that walking has made me more fit. I've always been naturally thin, not necessarily fit. Okay, so there's a difference. But now when I looked, as I took a picture with Jada when we were about to leave, when we dropped her off from school, and I saw that picture of me standing next to her, and I was like, look at your girl. Okay, I mean, wasn't a roll on that stomach. I mean, them legs was looking toned and everything. I was like, yes. Okay, so walking has done what I needed it to do. Like, I don't feel like I just need to be all super in shape and all of this. You know, I would love my dream still is to have a little tiny waist. But the walking thing has been my jam, and it's really helped me. It's really helped me fit into my clothes better. Do you cook? No, I don't cook anymore. I mean, I really don't cook. I ain't cooked. I can't even tell you the last time I really cooked something. I've cooked when the kids were growing up and everything, but once the kids I cooked all the way up until probably last year. And then Jada started working, and Joe was gone, and Mr. was a vegan for about 1.5 years. So Jada was buying her own food and eating out with her friends and all of that. And it was just like, what I'm cooking for? I can get me something to eat on the way home, because Mr. was going to make whatever his vegan stuff was. I mean, we would every now and then, but no, and I have no plans of really cooking now. I get home from work, Mr. be like, what we eating for dinner? I don't know, some ramen up in there, make a sandwich. Okay, next thing you know, we opening up a can of black eyed peas and some rice and doctor that up and eat it. Like, I just have no desire to cook like that. What's my favorite Bible verse? Okay, well, I just told you guys that I am a warrior. A warrior, not warrior, a warrior. Worrier. Is that the word? So when I was getting married, no, actually before I was getting married, the person who married us is the person that gave me this verse. But before he became a pastor and, took the calling, we were just really good friends. And his name was Ken, and Ken used to always hear me talking about worrying, and he was like, Roxanne, you have got to stop worrying. So he gave me this verse a long time ago, Philippians 4:6-7. Okay, be careful for nothing, but in everything by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, let your requests be made known unto God, and the peace of God, which passeth all understanding, shall keep your heart and minds through Christ Jesus. Okay, that basically is saying, don't worry about nothing. You tell your God what it is that you need. You demand it, because he said that he would do it, right? You give it to God. You don't worry about it. And then he is going to give you the desires of your heart. Okay. And that verse, when I'm like deep into my worry, I'll think about what Ken told me years ago. And that I'm not no big Bible reader. Like I don't know verses off the top of my head. I'm not even going to sit up here and lie and make it seem like I do. But I do know that one, because that one has meant a lot to me. So I would say that that's my favorite, you guys. We just got a couple left. What's my favorite episode of I Love Lucy? I got so many. Maybe the ones with the egg smash when they're practicing for the Rotary Club thing, or probably another one of my favorites that many people don't remember is when Lucy was trying to get her passport, and she had to log in some time before she can get the passport. So they were on the ferry, and Ricky thought he was giving them pills to, what was it? He thought they were giving him pills to stay awake, but it was sleeping pills or something. And she was real tired, but she had to sign the oath and take the oath. And when they were about to sign, and Ricky was like trying to wake her up, like, come on, baby, come on. He slapped her, and she looked at him like, motherfucker. And then she swung. It's so many. I Love Lucy episodes. I mean, I could tell you so many. We do not have the time. Okay, of course, I definitely love the candy. When they're on the candy is on the belt. I love a lot of the ones when they are out in the country. I just love Lucy. So any of the shows are kind of some of my favorites. Who is more stylish, J-Lo or Lala? That's a hard one. J-Lo, I think. J-Lo. Lala, I love Lala's fashion aesthetic, but lately, with this new body that Lala had, it's kind of thrown me a little bit. But I do still love Lala's thing. I mean, give me Lala or J-Lo's closet. But I guess if I really to sit down and think about it, probably J-Lo. And then my last question, somebody asked me, could I date a bisexual man? Nope. Not knowingly. If I knew that they were bisexual, I'm not dating them. Why would I sign myself up for that? It's already hard enough to know that, your man may be attracted to another woman, another man. It's just way too much for me. Okay, not saying that bisexual people can't control their feelings and that they gonna fuck around on other people, because I don't think that. But I just think that for me, I'm gonna need somebody that just fucks women. Okay, and they gotta be a man. That's all I'm saying. I think that was it. Oh, deserted island and can only bring 3 things. Can I bring my cell phone? Can I bring the internet? Can I bring my iTunes playlist? Okay, I think those are the things that I would bring. I know that's cheating because if you're on a deserted island, you don't have access to those things. I don't know what physically. I mean, I would want my Bible because I know at some point you just gonna need the word. I would love my phone even if it didn't have any service. I still would like to be able to listen to my music because I also feel like if I can get through my music, if my music is there, then I'm gonna be straight. And then I don't know what the third thing would be. What would you guys take on the deserted islands, the 3 things? Some matches? I mean, what we need, y'all? Y'all let me know. I ain't really thought about being on the deserted island. I would hope that I would never have to be on one. I do not know. Maybe I'll put it down in the comments. I'll think about it while we chatting and I'll let you guys know. But that's it. This video is an hour and a half long. We'll see how much I can edit it down. I'm not going to try to edit too much out. I'm trying to leave this as authentic and genuine as I can, you guys. But that's it. I've got to get back to work. Listen, I really love the Roxstars. I tell you guys that. I try to tell you guys that often. I really appreciate everything, you guys tuning in, giving me these questions for us to just sit and chat. I mean, this was really fun. I feel like I've opened up a little bit more than I normally would. I'll probably close the vault back after this, but this was definitely a good time, and I hope you guys also enjoyed it. Okay, I'm going to get off of here. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day, and I plan on doing the same. Till next time, Roxstars. Bye.